Hi, garden friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Era, and this is Gardening on Purpose. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a subscriber, welcome back. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I garden in Georgia, Zone 8A, where I do gardening-related videos. It is Sunday, and it's time for a Sunday walkabout. All right, guys. So tomorrow we are getting our first freeze. Temps are going to be in the highs of 38, lows of 26. So it's going to be a rough one tomorrow. And it didn't give us any warnings because here I am today on Sunday. It's 67 degrees, guys, and the low is going to be in the 40s, right? And before that, last week, we're in the 70s. Like we were in the 74, 75. And then here we are back down to 60s. And then tomorrow going all the way down to the 30s. So it's going to be a rough dip. And a lot of plants are going to get shocked and they're going to get knocked back, right? But what I'm going to do today is kind of show you a couple of things I'm going to be doing to prep for that. And then checking on any plants that are still blooming or anything that's new that I feel like I want to show you. So let's get started. First up, I have put most of my clearance plants closer to the house, huddled together so that they can all be in one spot for two reasons. One, they can help each other by huddling together. And two, I do have a huge frost blanket that I'm going to be putting over these. Now, some of these, I'm actually going to move them and put them inside of the covered patio. Like anything that's in a 2-quart or less, I'm going to bring them inside because the smaller the container is, the easier it is to damage with that freeze. Now, something in a 2, 3, 4, 5 gallon, I'm not worried about. But you see these daylilies here and this phlox and coneflower and regular lilies and stuff. These are all going to go in the covered patio. Now, they are hardy. They are hardy from zones. Some of them are hardy -10, -20, but simply because they're in a smaller container makes them a little bit more susceptible. Same thing with these here. See, I have balloon flower here, right here. These guys are turning. I have blanket flowers here. These are all in 2 quarts. So anything in 2 quart is definitely going to go inside. Now, these are roses, and these are in a regular container. These will be fine. These are all hardy from zones 5 or 4, so I'm not worried about that. But that's pretty much it. Anything that's in a big container that's hardy from zones 6, 5, or 4 is going to stay outside. I think they'll be quite fine when it comes to this freeze. Some things are coming inside, and you guys know I'm not a big fan of bringing things inside. I don't have a lot of space in the house. The garage is pretty full, but I'm going to put some things in the garage. One is dahlias. Now, dahlias are hardy to zone 8, and I didn't have anywhere to put them, so they have to come inside. They are not the greatest when it comes to taking cold, so they're definitely going inside. Now, I also have these guys here. I have 2 more of the Miss Huff lantana, right? This Miss Love lantana, I had bought this from Growers Outlet. I had bought 4, and I've already put 2 in the ground. I just didn't have any space to put these. And the place that I put these 2 was just holding places. They can't stay there because these guys are going to get, as wide as 10 feet tall. So these are going to come in the garage with me. And then this is a sedum. This is an autumn fire. It can take the cold. I might just put this on the outside patio, the covered patio. They don't need to be completely protected. Just something that they don't stay frozen, especially them being in a 2-quart container. Same thing with this meant to be Queen Nectarine Akastaki. This guy's going to come inside of the covered patio, but not in the garage. Banana, this banana here, the Cavendish banana, this is going to go in the garage to just help it. Now, this guy here will come back if it's planted in the ground and if it is mulched properly. But again, it's still in the container and I just need to have it protected. Now, these guys here, these are crepe myrtles, and these are hardy to zone 6. So these can come into the covered patio with me, and they don't need to go in the actual garage and be completely protected, but I definitely don't want them to just stay frozen all day. Anything that's blooming right now is going to get beat up a little bit tomorrow. I still have daisies spewing out blooms, guys. Really, really happy. Now, the ones that are mostly blooming still is the White Mountain and the Banana Cream by Proven Winners. The White Mountain, I just got a regular from Lowe's, but the Proven Winners Banana Cream, that one is still blooming as well. Still doing that, right? My Chapel Hill lantana that's been blooming and blooming and blooming, that guy here might get knocked back tomorrow. These are hardy from zones 8. So they definitely, depending on how bad the freeze is and how long it lasts, will determine how this plant ends up doing. And then we have the dahlias. You know, like I said earlier, those can only take zone 8, but these are in the ground. This dahlia is in the ground, and this is the creme de cassis, right? Also have these encore azaleas. Now, this is the autumn twist. You know, they can take the cold, but it just, again, it all depends on how long the freeze lasts, if it's going to be an all-day thing or if it's going to be a couple of hours. It all determines how the plants are going to get affected. Here is the beauty berry here. Pearl Glam Beauty Berry. Roses are still blooming. This is the Knockout Rose, Cherry Red. This guy here is going to get beat up tomorrow. But this one here is a pretty reliable rose, guys. Even though a lot of the, the hardcore rose folks don't really like knockout roses, these guys have done really, really well for me. They provide nectar, not as much, but they do provide nectar because I do see bees and butterflies still coming at them here in November. And then I also have the Mexican petunia. This one will definitely get knocked back tomorrow. This guy is hardy from zones 8. And again, depending on how long the freeze lasts, is how bad this guy's going to get beat up. All right, so I've detached my Vago hose from the house, right? I've removed it because I definitely don't want to have it attached while we are freezing. And this was pretty easy to remove. So this is where the Vago hose sits, literally, right? And it literally sits in here. So I took it off. See this guy right here, right there, sits in here. And that's where it stays all season long. But now that we're going to get cold and freezing and stay freezing, I'm going to take this guy into the garage. Checking back in with any newly planted shrubs just to make sure that they're doing okay. You guys saw when I did the Daphne Odora. This guy here was something I bought from Growers Outlet. This is a winter bloomer. And as you can see, I make sure I plant this guy above the soil grade. And I'm going to bring the leaves closer up to kind of protect it from that freeze tomorrow. This is first time I'm having this guy in my yard, so I'm really protective over it. I spent $18 on this little guy here, so I'm really hoping it makes it through. Same thing with this Eclipse Big Leaf Hydrangea. This is one of those dark colored hydrangeas with this really, really nice, beautiful red blooms. Those guys here are newly planted. You might have seen when I planted the Edgeworthia. I'm excited about this guy because it's so different. And another winter bloomer with buds, so I'm holding out hope that they don't get too damaged when we have that freeze tomorrow. And then I have my yellow anise or yellow anise that I planted not too long ago. Again, something also I got from the Growers Outlet. Now, I also showed you this guy last week. This one is this guy here. This is Aurelia, also known as Fatsia. Now, this guy here, I was so happy to see it bloom. Now, I have 3 of them. Only one of them is blooming. Again, this is a zone 8A plant that's in the ground, so I'm not worried about it. But it might get beat up. The blooms might get beat up. But I was just so happy to see it last week when I showed you that this guy was all budded up and blooming. All right, guys. So as you can see, I'm having a lot of leaves falling. This is a time where the leaves are going to be falling, and I don't complain about leaves one bit. I leave my leaves in certain areas. Certain times I will rake it out and run the mower over it and then have them, smaller, chipped up, and then put them back in the beds. I don't bag my leaves. I don't put the leaves on the curb. I use everything that nature gives me in this yard, and it has worked out well, especially when winter's coming around and a lot of plants are newly planted. The leaves do help to insulate them a little bit, I already have mulch and the leaves help with that. So that's what it's looking like right now in regard to the leaves in my yard. So here I am on the front foundation, and you saw this last week. It's still looking great. Now, what I have around here are a lot of evergreens, azaleas, camellias, tea olives, and lyrope, right? Now, the camellias, they will get beat up a little bit. Now, even though they bloom in the late fall into the winter, they have to be budded up, and some of these buds will get damaged. Now, here's an early wonder camellia that is completely budded up, right? And I'm just hoping that that bud will actually make it through that freeze. And like I keep saying, like it all depends on how bad and how long this freeze lasts. It might damage the buds, it might turn them black and they might fall off. Or sometimes if it does bloom, it won't bloom that well. Here's my shishi that you saw in a short lately. Love this guy. Moved it recently, and even after the move, it was still able to bring out some blooms. Here's another shishi that's completely budded up, hoping that the buds do last. Now, my fragrant tea olive, which I absolutely adore, I have a lot of these in my yard. These guys smell amazing. If you're looking for an evergreen shrub that will smell amazing and has these beautiful little inconspicuous blooms, the fragrant tea olive does amazingly well. I can't describe to you how amazing this smells when you're walking up to the front door, guys. It is glorious. Now, look how small these blooms are. They're tiny, but they are really, really tough. They pack a punch with that scent. It smells amazing. So I have a couple of these on the front foundation, which I absolutely adore. Now, this one here, I had gotten it from Lowe's, I believe, on clearance, and I loved it so much. When I went up to Growers Outlet, I said, let me get some more. Now, I had got this guy here for, I believe, $12 for a 2.25 gallon. But the guys at Growers Outlet, they had these for $9 for a $9.50 for a 1 gallon. And I said, let me just put some more in this bed. Now, I also have another camellia here. This is a Yuletide camellia. Now, you might have seen this guy in a short recently. Let me show you the buds. The blooms are really, really nice. See that? See that really nice bloom? And it's all budded up as well. Might get damaged. But again, I've gotten what I wanted to get out of this guy, which is blooms into November and into December. Now, the good thing is that this freeze is only for tomorrow. And when I checked on Tuesday and Wednesday, the freeze is gone. So it's only going to be one day until we really, really get into the cold, you know. But so far, so good with this camellia here. This is Yuletide, got it from Lowe's on clearance. Further down are some more of the tea olives and even more camellias that I got from the guys at Growers Outlet. All right, wrapping things up right now. This is what the garden is looking like. I'm just so happy how things turned out this year, but our freeze is upon us, and I will definitely give you an update as to how things turn out after the freeze is gone. Let me know what you think, guys. Let me know if you're expecting a freeze, or if you've had your freeze already, or how your garden is doing right now. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. Remember to hit that notification bell so you can be alerted on all my new videos. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.